Steve and Meade again, back with another Bullseye Guy podcast. Super excited. I'm always excited, but this time I'm really excited. Got a tremendous interview coming up with Andy Broadaway, and I've known Andy for years. Fabulous dresser, as always. If he doesn't have the bow tie on, I won't recognize him. So if you guys see him at an event, this is classic Andy. You will easily recognize him. Super personable, affable. Anywhere you see him, be sure to approach him. But we're going to start, Andy. Let's go back, and then we'll go forward, and then we'll go future forward.
Sounds great.
Give us a little background on Andy. Where did you start? Sort of what have you done historically before we kind of catch up to where you are now?
Well, great. My background, thanks again for having me on. And you know why I wear a bow tie? Because there's nothing working here. So I got to use this to get the attention when I'm in a network function. And it happens to be, it's two-sided. Sometimes people see it intimidating, and then sometimes people see it welcoming. I'd rather go the welcoming side. It starts a great conversation. So that's great. So my background is IT. And I started on the Commodore VIC-20, if anybody knows about that one. Goes back a long time. Age 13 years old, I had that Commodore VIC-20. The hard drive was a cassette tape. And so very interesting. When you push load or start, it would take 10 minutes for the program to load up. I did some programming there. And then I quickly moved into the IT space. So I'm obviously doing programming. And then I started a company providing IT support for small businesses called Small Business Computer Doctors, where I completely branded that company, which was really cool, and then entered into a really great relationship with Microsoft, because my car looked like a little mini ambulance with the PC Doctor theme. It was a PT Cruiser, white, with all of the stuff that looked like a little ambulance. They invited me to come to a lot of their shows, and it was there. They sponsored their logos were all over the car. It looked like a little NASCAR on the back with the Microsoft logo. So my background's IT. Been involved with that. Then I segued over to the internet marketing space, and for the past 18-20 years, I've been working with some A-list celebrities. People in the personal development field. If I mentioned their names, you would know them right away. I developed a lot of products with them and helped them make, last count, I think I'm over $12 million of income that I've helped clients generate. One client helped her generate $3.8 million in 18 months. Now, those are not, I'm not making income claims, so don't come after me with income claims, but that's what we're able to do through the internet marketing space. A couple of years ago, you go back 3 or 4 years ago, I've been dabbling in and out of, the AI space. And as you all know, something occurred back in November of last year, 2022, that there's this company came around that was funded by Microsoft, OpenAI, and they released this ChatGPT, which I believe has revolutionized and really brought a lot of attention into the AI space. So that's when I released my book. I was actually going to release my book called AI Digital Marketing Secrets, and then ChatGPT came out. I held the book back and then published it with an entire chapter in there about ChatGPT. So that's my background.
Well, like I said, let's go backward and come forward, because you arced us up very quickly to the future.
Yeah.
You said something interesting in there. You said you wrote the book on AI. This isn't the only book you've written. Not only have you written many books, you also have a process and a service to help people with the book. So give me a little bit of background, or give us background on some of the other books you've written, how you got into that, what your process is, and then actually talk a little bit about the service you offer, because it's really interesting to help authors get, more sales and exposure.
Yeah, great. So almost 30 years ago, I started a company. I'm going to say 25 because I don't know exactly, but I started a company called Abundant Press, and that was a publishing company that allowed authors to essentially print their books. And instead of going to a traditional publisher, we provided services that would print the books. And if you go back 25 years, we're going back to the past again, and then we're going to come forward. But if you go back then, the authors would essentially have to print several thousands and thousands of books in order to get the cost down.
Sure.
Right. Well, I'm getting this little company called Amazon came around, and it created this platform that allows authors to essentially print on demand. So we used and leveraged that platform as well as other ones, but we've got a very unique style to help authors get their books published, but also execute that and help them create a platform to position themselves as an expert using books. And we've published hundreds of authors over the years, as well as help them be a #1 bestseller in multiple categories. I personally have written, I think the last count, I think I'm up to 18 books now. You'll see a couple of the books right behind you here. You'll see some other clients that we've worked with and their books behind. But that digital marketing secrets and then the science of getting rich, that's got a very unique story to it. So if you want, I can share that with you.
Yeah, of course.
And that's using ChatGPT. But that is the publishing platform, and that we have. And then I also own another company that provides AI services, marketing services.
And from a publishing platform, because I know a lot of book authors, as do you, or a lot of wannabe book authors. What are some of the things that you offer? If they come to you, is it the manuscript? Is it the writing? Is it the print on demand? Is it the IBAN number and the listing? Is it marketing? I mean, there's a whole step and suite. And I think you have tools for a whole suite of services. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, 100%. So we can take a client from taking their book, whether they've written the manuscript or whether they haven't. I've got an amazing team of what they call ghostwriters, or what we call collaborative writers, that can help them write a book, get the book published, but we do everything in between. So book cover design, ISBN, et cetera, that allows someone to get their book published and to be able to get it on all the platforms, not just Amazon. So Amazon is the largest one, but there are 11 other platforms that an author would want to consider doing that. And then we provide some really cool tools, not only just a website that allows you to capture the data and follow up with it, but really when it comes down to it is, what is your book going to be used for, right? So you want to think about how you're going to use the book and what you're going to leverage the book for. And that's what we always hone in with clients and ask them, once you publish the book, what comes after?
And what are some of the top things that people would publish a book for? I'll take a guess. Vanity, credibility,
yes.
Cash, and customers. That would be my 4 guesses.
Those are great guesses. And all of those fit within some parameters. So I have a client that recently that just wanted to publish the book to get it published. And at the same time, he didn't actually want people to buy it. I know it's a little odd, but he published it with the intention to attract one client. And he mailed the book to the client to get his attention. And that got his attention, and he turned it into a pretty lucrative deal. So that's where he used the book as a credibility piece. We have other clients that will take a book and they'll create an entire income stream behind it, create a content, online courses. And then also, because it has credibility to it, it allows you to get onto podcasts, speaking platforms, where if you didn't have a book, you're competing against other people that got books. So it's better to have a book.
And then I'm not going to ask you to disclose the secret tips or tricks, but you have some pretty interesting tips and unique ways to help get a book within a bestseller category or certain kinds of accolades, correct?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. There are authentic and genuine and validated steps that we use to help a client become a #1 bestseller.
Yeah,
so,
and that's what I said. That'll be a tease, a dangling participle that we'll leave there and not disclose what that is. But I've heard you talk through them, and they make a lot of sense. Hopefully, one day, you've been helping me with my book. It's all on me to get it done. You guys have been great, so hopefully one day I'll be able to get it done. Within the book publishing, the platform, I know you have another services company that does, like web design and things like that. For a little while, you, like many of us, blockchain crypto was a phase. You jumped into the NFT craze a little bit. You made some really, cute things around cannabis that I thought were really unique. There were some good opportunities. That window collapsed pretty quickly. That was a short-lived, I think, window for that kind of industry. And then AI. So AI has been talked about forever. And it's one of these things that is kind of, in my opinion, moved through terminology. It was machine to machine or machine learning or or these things. So the term AI now is machine learning a couple years ago, or machine to machine. How would you define in today's world and parameter? Here we are, mid-year 2023. How would you define AI?
So the way I define AI is whatever tool that you're using, whether you're using ChatGPT or whether you're using anything else, you look at it as a tool to help you. It's a force multiplier. So for me, and a lot of people that I know struggle with writing content. Even though I've written 18 books, they've all been, it's work. It's not, grinding out words, right? So with tools like ChatGPT and Bard and Claude and a bunch of other ones, it helps you develop a platform that'll get you 90% there. And then you just go through and do your edits, right? So that's what's important. So it's a leverager. It's this leverage that you can use. And there's many tools out there that an entrepreneur business owner could use.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a minute, because I would agree with you. We've used it. You've been helpful with us on some of our things. It does get you 90% there. However, it's still, pejorative. It's still a child that's learning. It's only as good as the information is there. So it doesn't get you 90% there immediately. There's a lot of steps with inputs and refinements. And so just for people who don't know what ChatGPT is or how it works, you can plug a bit of content in and it'll give you back amazing, glowing information, but it's taking that data and spitting back a glowing response. But the terms, the adjective words matter. Talk a little bit about that process, because people don't fully understand it. Let's talk first on the ChatGPT or a chatbot, and then I want to move to one of the other ones that I find fascinating. Let's start with chat.
Yeah, cool. So when you're thinking of a chatbot, then we'll just use ChatGPT as an example. It's the old term garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you put garbage in or you ask it a garbage question, it's going to give you what you give it back. So those are what they call prompts. So whenever you're going to ChatGPT or any other tool, you're using a term called prompting. You're actually typing in very clear on what you want. So for example, if you go to ChatGPT and you were a business owner, let's say you were in the real estate business, right? I just got off a training call with a real estate broker. We're using ChatGPT, and basically you go to ChatGPT and you say to it, I am a real estate broker, works with first-time home buyers. I work in the Los Angeles area, etc. And I want you to act like a real estate agent that's seasoned. So that is preloading it. You're actually telling it how to act. So the better you do a job at, giving it that prompt at the beginning, and then you say, do you understand? It'll come back and say, yeah, I understand. Now you could ask a bunch of questions. You can say, hey, create me 5 posts for social media that's going to help me get attention. Right? Or give me 5 tips that every homeowner should know about buying property. And it will come back and give you that data. That's one way. The other way is you could preload it information. So if you had an article or something that you wrote or something that you found, right, that has got great education piece, you preload that into ChatGPT and you basically say, I want you to review this, what I'm going to send you. And then you essentially load it in and it will suck it all in, read it, and it does it pretty quick. And then you come back and you start asking it questions based on that. So the better off you communicate with it, the best way I could say is that you want to think of ChatGPT as your junior associate, that you talk to it like you're talking to a human and you give it directions, but the better directions you give it, the better it's going to give back to you. That's why I say you get the 90% there.
Yeah, and I'm going to go 2 different lanes. We used it the other day on a site, again, you helped us set up, and it was fascinating because the company's called Greenway Funding, and it's about helping governments get bonds. So it's not a company that does funding, but because funding was in the name, the ChatGPT spit out a beautiful glowing summary as if this was a company that was doing funding and investing.
Yeah.
And so the prompt of the word funding, we had to remove out and put in services and platform. We had to change that term to get the result we wanted, even though the name was something different. So when you talk about prompts and understanding, it's taking the words literally and giving you information back.
Yeah, correct. And what's interesting about this is that all of these chat GPTs or any of these programs, they are only thinking about one word at a time and then creating the next word and the next word and the next word based on information that it knows. All has to do with machine learning, right? So it's absorbed the entire internet plus. And so now it comes back and gives you information.
And so my secondary question, and you may have an opinion on this. I don't know if it's an answer or illegal. And you gave the example earlier. Let's say I found an article I really liked on, sustainability or something along those lines, and put it into Chat GPT and said, evaluate this article and rewrite it, giving me these 3 points. If it spit out new content, is that technically mine because I gave it prompts to rewrite, or where does that line start getting crossed of ownership and authentication? Because that's a lot of where media and Hollywood that's on strike right now. There's this concern about where does that copyright extension occur. So in that example, I plug an article in, say, give me the 3 different things. Is it now mine?
So that is a very good question. I'm not an attorney, and
that's why I said just opinion.
And I don't play one on TV. However, I do have, and I'll plug something here real quick. I have an AI summit coming up in a few weeks, and one of my guests on there is an AI IP trademark attorney that's going to specifically be answering those questions and presenting that. So without giving it away, this guy's the expert. He's worked with the MIT and been a seasoned attorney for 25 years. I'm going to give you my opinion based on what I know from him. So when you use any of the tools, ChatGPT, Midjourney, any of them, they all have a terms and conditions that we all sign, right? A lot of them will say what you create still belongs to us, whatever it spits out. And again, you look at the terms and conditions, right? For me, if it was for me, and if I'm going to ChatGPT, which I do this a lot, I go there and I feed it information and I ask it to create something new. Now, I then take it one step further and I put it into another program to essentially rewrite it again. And when I go into that other program and rewrite it again, it's completely undetectable that it was written by ChatGPT. So in my opinion, it's now mine.
Got it. And that's what we were talking to some guys in the entertainment industry and a few of my friends in the music industry. And that was what I explained to them. They're like, we're going to be replaced. I said, no, you just leverage it as a tool. You can go with a snippet, a theme, a phrase, and it's your songwriter, it's your editor. It'll come back with phraseology. You still tweak it and make it yours. So use it as a tool, not an antagonist. The second one I wanted to talk about, and you mentioned it earlier off the cuff as if everybody knew, and a few months ago I didn't know until you used it on us or with us. The AI isn't just for words. And you mentioned Midjourney. Midjourney was fascinating. We needed a mock-up of a movie theater in Dubai, and we wanted polar bears and stuff. And we're trying to figure out how to get a mock-up in the traditional way and Photoshop. And Andy's like, oh, hang on, I'll get it to you. And 3 minutes later, gave us 4 versions on a square from something we had never heard of called Midjourney.
Right.
What is Midjourney? What does it do? How does it work?
So that is, so you think of ChatGPT, that's text to chatbot. Okay, now there is text to image, right? So when you type in a text, again, it's all about prompting. You use a program called Midjourney. There was another one that was before that, which is still popular. It's called DALL-E, which is owned by OpenAI. It works very similar. The unfortunate thing about Midjourney is it runs inside of a thing called Discord. And so you've got to understand about Discord. So anyone that's been on the gaming platform or in the NFT world knows about Discord, but it is there, right? So it's a series of prompts that you just type in and you essentially tell it what you want. So that particular prompt, even though I spit it out in 3 to 5 minutes, I've used Midjourney enough that I know how to talk to it. So it'll kick back, something.
Right. And that's more just, again, the terminology for people who don't understand AI. It's the prompts. The better you get at the prompts, the better your result is. And even with ours, the first one that came out was a little, animated. I won't call it cartoonish, but it was drawn. And you said, okay, make it more realistic, add another polar bear. And,
Yeah.
so the tools are out there. And again, I've got a list of a bunch of them I was going through the other day. I think I shared it with you. There's plugins, right? Just like for people that do WordPress or things like that. You now are starting to have plugins and tools. There's one for spreadsheets and PowerPoint, and there's a whole list of tools that are coming.
Right.
And I know you've built an AI toolbox for businesses, so it's not just, oh, let me help you create better copy. What are some of not only the cool tools that businesses can use, but what have you built within your AI toolbox that allows you to use AI as a tool for businesses to be better?
Yeah, correct. So let me just cover a couple of the other text to other stuff. So now they have a thing called text to video. So you could type in some prompts and it'll essentially create a 3 to 5 second video. Now, what you're seeing out of it is pretty remarkable to where we are now. And the thing I always look at is whenever you're seeing something like that, you go, okay, that's the worst it's ever going to be. Like it's going to get better.
Right.
Like you can type in a man walking on the sand on the beach, and it will create a video, a 3-second to a 5-second video of a man walking on the beach. It's not super clear. It's not HD, but it is like mind blowing. Like,
wow,
you go, oh wow, I didn't realize that it would do that, right? And you didn't know that you could do that, but now that's getting in there, right? So those are the 3 big ones. There's a bunch of other ones. You can do text to code, having somewhere, type in a text and it'll write you a Python code or a code to write a piece of software. And so there's lots of that. There's also text to 3D modeling. So you could type in and it will create a 3D model of something. You're texting and then you just take that program, drop it into a thing called Blender, and now you've got a 3D model, right?
wow.
So there's a lot that could be done. So people think, and I want to touch on one thing, because you touched on something earlier about, you were talking about the people that were in Hollywood, they were on strike and worried about their jobs, right? There's another way to look at that. And the way to look at it is, AI is not going to replace you. AI is going to replace you. The person using AI is going to replace you, right? So just think of it that way. It's better to adopt and start using it now, and you be the expert in the room that can say, I can do that. And make it better. Cool.
Yeah. And so within the AI toolbox that you have, you're using it for clients for marketing and lead generation and content creation and just a whole list of things. Talk a little bit about the AI in the box that you have right now.
Great. So you're referring to the AI brand accelerator toolbox that we have. So
yes,
AI
I shortened it to AI in a box, but yes, that's
there you go. So it's AIbrandaccelerator.com. And basically what that is, it's an all-in-one AI powered SaaS platform. So you want to think of it as all the tools that we've been using over the years, like anybody that's in the internet marketing space, you've used WordPress, you've used Kajabi, you've used ClickFunnels, you've used Aweber, Keep any of these. What we've done is we've put them all into one platform. So everything is unified. So when you get a contact record in, like somebody either texts you, fills a form in, sends a DM message, all that contact record goes straight into one contact folder. Okay, we're using AI to do all that. Now we have also taken OpenAI's API and put it on the bottom end of our software, which means that at any time, if you're creating a web page, like you can go in there and create a web page, you can create a funnel anytime you're in there and you get stuck, there's a button that you can click on and it essentially ties straight in with the ChatGPT. So instead of open up ChatGPT, you've got it built in there. So you type a couple of prompts, it'll give you three suggestions. Let's say you're trying to create a headline, it'll do that. If you want to create an image, it'll do that. And you could do it on the fly instead of swapping back and forth. So it's super powerful. It's an all-in-one box. I mean, it's all in one piece of software that it replaces all of that software that people were using, and we have it in there. And we've got a really cool interactive chat bot that is interactive that can be also installed. That essentially, and the way that you want to use it is this. Let's say that you're a law firm or a company that's got a lot of information open to the public. We're not talking about private information. We're talking about public information that's on a website. And the website has got multiple pages. We've got a chatbot that can essentially take all the pages of your website and create an interactive chatbot. So somebody comes to that chatbot and they open up and says, do you provide this services? And it will say, yes, we provide these services. And it will then provide a link for them to book a call, complete a form. And so it's got this built-in, what I call sales or offering up while it's going on. So it's really, really cool.
And you've also talked about, I'm still trying to get my head around to use this one with lead gen, with lead generation and
yes,
scraping and pulling data. Give us an example of something like that and how it would be used.
Yeah, so that is another service that we have. We call that AI brand leads, and what that essentially is it allows us to have a tool that will go out and find leads that are very specific to a target market. So, for example, if a business owner if they were an insurance broker and they wanted to go find other clients that to sell insurance to or to offer their services to, what we have the ability that they could just type in with their ideal customer, what business or what the category that they're in a specific city, and it will go out and find that information and bring it back, and it will have name, email address, physical address, the point of contact, all that in there, and that now can be either downloaded. However, we have a system that will automatically connect that to one of our campaign builders, and it will send out a series of emails that you pre-programmed in it that essentially using AI, it's doing all the work for you instead of having you to reach out.
Yeah, and so like we were saying, a lot of these things are tools that are going to be enhancements, and yeah, it's going to impact copywriters in some sense, but then some copywriters will use it to provide a quicker, better solution and output and things like that.
Yeah, correct. There's always going to be that skill. I was talking to one of the highest paid copywriters that are out there, and I said, how are you using ChatGPT? How do you see it either developing out your business or interfering? And he goes, we're already using it internally to enhance our services. And I said, well, cannot somebody just do the same thing as you? And he goes, no, because we, again, have a conversation with ChatGPT ahead of time, prompting it with our specific formula that will kick back what we need. So he's written a prompt, numerous prompts, and not just one, but numerous heavy duty, like paragraphs of prompts that you put in, and then you spit it back out, and then you give it again. And so it's a rinse and repeat that deal. But this is his proprietary language or his systems that he's used over the years to write a lot of copy.
Yeah, it's prompts, and then it's like you said, if you're good at the prompts, it'll get you 90% there.
Right.
It's those last edits and tweaks that make it the most relevant. So let's spend the last minute or two for the future of AI. Right. And again, I wanted to focus in here on the business tools, not the, it's going to launch the nuclear codes or things like that.
Yeah.
Where do you see the industry and business of AI 5 or 10 years out in terms of enhancements? And what do you think's coming that we haven't thought about yet?
So here's what I feel is going to happen. You have companies that before may have had thousands of employees working for that company. I see that in the next couple of years, you can have a multi-million-dollar company with less than 6 employees running the whole thing using ChatGPT tools, not for customer service and everything else, right? So it is a very powerful tool where you'll be able to get lean and mean and automate things that you are doing manually already. So that's the future. The future is abundant when it comes to the technology. Abundant, meaning, for example, like I just said to you, text to video,
Yeah.
right? Okay. You can also do text to music, actually write a song or write a script. But imagine somebody being able to sit down and write a series of prompts and essentially create a full featured movie. I
Right.
just interviewed someone that he created a little short film using DALL-E, right, as the characters, then use some animated feature sets to actually bring those characters to life. But he's not going to be on that was a project that he worked on for 9 months that
Yeah.
can be sped up into essentially weeks. I just saw something really cool where a guy created this, and it was on Twitter, created a like a little fun video where, the two movies that are in the theater right now is what's that one about the atomic bomb?
Oppenheimer,
Oppenheimer, one of those, and then the other one is Barbie, right?
Yeah.
So he essentially wrote a prompt to combine both of those together and created a little 1 minute short film where if Barbie was replaced with this guy, and it created a whole set of characters, and it was brilliant looking. Like we're also talking about text to speech,
Yeah.
right? Where you could type in a text and it could be off the shelf voice, or it could be your own. Like I've put my voice into the engine, and I can type something, and it's my voice.
Yeah, we've like I said, we've used you with the AI voice outputs, the voiceovers.
Yeah.
Boy, I would tend to be controversial in this when we wrap up. When you're talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer, the other big movie that's out is Sound of Freedom.
Correct.
And I'd be curious if you wrote Sound of Freedom and Barbie and saw what it spit out.
That might be a little weird.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, I'm not sure about that one. So let's,
as we segue over to Sound of Freedom, that is an amazing film. I've met the main guy that the movie's all about. It's an amazing piece of film.
Yeah, I mean, everybody I hope gets to see it, because it's a tragedy what's going on, and it's heroic what those guys have done. So let's wrap up, Andy. Two things. One, how do people find you and the AI Brand Accelerator, and how do they find the book? Are they one and the same, or are they different?
Yeah, they're different. Best place is that you can go to LinkedIn, find me there. You can go to Instagram, find me there. Facebook, I'm there also. If you want to find out specifically about the software, the AI powered software, that's aibrandaccelerator.com, and you can go there. And if you're interested in booking an appointment with me, like a 30-minute clear strategy session, and this is not one of these strategy sessions where I try to sell you on something. This is a true strategy session where I'm going to talk about your business, and if it's something we can work together on, cool. If not, hey, you've left away with a lot of great information. I'm not in the sales business. I'm in more of the, here's what the tools are, and here's how it can make your life easier. So there's that one. And we talked about the AI.
The book, hold it up in frame there. There we go.
Yeah, AI digital marketing secrets. You can go to Amazon and pick it up there. If you're interested in it,
hold it up again though. You were covering your name. We have to teach you to hold a little better. There we go. Perfect.
There you go. AI Brand Accelerator.
Nice. Thank you.
Sorry, AI digital marketing secrets. And I got one of my clients, Dennis Waitley, to write a forward in that book. So really cool.
And you've got a virtual event coming up with Dennis.
Yes, we've got a virtual event coming up with Dennis at NAI Summit with Dennis here on August the 5th. So if you want information on that, it's called the Best You AI Summit, and we're partnering with a company called The Best You. So there'll be some that. And I left a cliffhanger on this book over here to my shoulder. Do we have another minute on that? Or
yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So the Science of Getting Rich book was written by a guy named Wallace Wattles. Now, back in 1910 or 1912, somewhere back then, right? If you ever watched the movie The Secret, by Rhonda Byrne, she read the book The Science of Getting Rich, and that was the catalyst for her creating the movie The Secret. That was the catalyst. That was the main one. Well, that book is now out of copyright. So it is public domain, and there has been lots of people that have republished it. But I have always, over the years, wanted to take that book and essentially make it applicable to a certain business. So, for example, I was working with a network marketing company years ago, had 80,000 distributors, and I approached them with the idea of taking the science of getting rich and making it the science of getting rich for network marketers, right? And take all the stories that he told and make it applicable for network marketing, right? So that is a long writing task. We never did do that project. The company actually went out of business. But the science of getting rich, what I did here is I made it applicable to artificial intelligence. So anytime he was telling a story about, back then it was just trains, they're barely planes, it was just trains. Whenever he would talk about a particular technology that was back then, I essentially replaced it with how it's being used with artificial intelligence.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
it's got the original text. Original text is there. You can see it. And on the following pages, it's how it's been adapted for artificial intelligence. So it's a
Very
pretty
cool.
Yeah.
So it's a term I have called future forecasting.
There you go. There you go.
It's future
And-
forecasting.
Yeah. And with that, again, I use a series of prompts, right? That would allow me to rewrite that one. And then I've got another really cool project coming up called the Forward to Your Future. And now we know we've talked about that one.
Yes.
That one is really cool. That's going back in time and talking to inventors and people.
Yeah.
back-
Interviewing historical features.
Oh my word. And the prompt I did for that, it blow your mind. Absolutely blow your mind. So
We'll do another one on that, because that in and of itself will be a whole session that I'm excited to learn about. So
totally.
again, Andy, I know you're super busy. Thank you. For everybody who wants to reach out, we'll put the information in there. Andy, stay safe, be great on the travels, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Steve.